This is Tech Room, powered by Loctech Training Institute. Tech Room is a corporate social responsibility of the Loctech Training Institute. It's a TV program that brings information technology education to our community's doorstep. We do this because we believe that everyone, regardless of finances, age, or gender, should have access to information technology education. I'm your host, Akila Chikede. But you already know, you can call me the Resident Texas. On today's episode, I have two learners from the Loctech Training Institute. They'll be telling us or sharing with us their experience at the Loctech Training Institute, how they started, what they're learning, and what their experience has been like. Welcome to the show, Ralph.
Thank you.
And welcome to the show, Ifunaya.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you guys. I hope you're happy to be here.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so Ralph, can you just share with a brief introduction of yourself with our viewers?
Okay, I am Ralph Saka, a cybersecurity graduate of Clifford University, Abia State. I studied networking and Python programming at Loctech. I am currently studying certified ethical hacking at Loctech.
Wow, that's a tech bro right there. Welcome to the show, Ralph.
Thank you very much.
Alright, Ifunaya.
My name is Akodike Ifunaya. I studied chemistry from Imo State University of Owerri. I'm currently doing data analysis with Excel in Loctech, and I'm also an entrepreneur.
You're also an entrepreneur. Yeah. Alright, this is also a Texas. Welcome to the show, Ifunaya.
Thank you.
I mean, you could have done any other thing. Why something IT related? Why did you come for a tech skill? Why did you go to gain?
Well, I think the world is going diverse, so I decided to move forward.
Okay. And you think that this is quite relevant in today's world?
Yeah.
It is. Okay, so my tech bro, all right, cybersecurity expert in the house, and you are currently studying what, networking? You already have like an academic background in technology, in IT, core IT. Why did you think it was necessary to add something else? Because I mean, someone might say you learned it all at school.
Okay. First of all, sticking to school learning is making like everybody, right? So I want to be singled out, I want to have like great knowledge on what I'm doing. And then second, when you do cybersecurity in your school, they're giving like general package. Okay. Now, if you look into cybersecurity, there are different career paths. So you have to narrow down to exactly what you want to do. And I chose certified ethical hacking. I mean, that formed the background of the other things I studied, right? Because they all contribute to where I'm going in cybersecurity.
So you felt it was necessary, even though you have an academic background, it was necessary to get a professional certificate, which you're currently doing at Loctech. So that means that regardless of whether you studied IT at university, it's always good to top up something, like you said, to make you stand out in the market.
Definitely.
The market, right?
Yes, you have to remain relevant.
To remain relevant. Okay, fantastic. So, my dear Ifunaya, I mean, behind the scenes, we had a conversation, and you told me that yes, you're a graduate, you're done with the university, but you also currently have your own business. So your knowledge of data analysis with Excel, has it in any way helped your business or helped you in doing business better?
Well, actually, it has helped me in doing business very better in terms of knowing how many customers, taking analysis of customers, getting the amount, and knowing it to drop or increase quantities of items and how to buy your groceries used for the baking. So it has actually helped me in a very, very good way to take statistics.
And take good stuff of your business, work with data for your business, and also help you to forecast for your business. So I mean, I think that also helps you be efficient in the way you do business, right?
Yes, actually.
Welcome back everybody to our third part of the UI UX design series. I remain your instructor Olen Asinobi, a UI UX design instructor here at Loctech Training Institute. So last week, we discussed about how we can be able to understand our users and find out their problems. It was really fun. So today we're going to be diving into Figma, one of the most used tools by UI UX designers. Now, Figma is not the only tool that UI UX designers use. There are a lot of other tools that we can use as well, but it's just that they all serve the same purpose, and for the sake of our course, we're going to be using only Figma. So Figma is an online tool, so we have to we're going to go to our browser and search for Figma, just like this, figma.com. It's not hard. You can see Figma login as well. Yeah, click on it, and then the page opens. Yeah, options are there: start now, login, and so on and so forth. As you don't have an account, you're going to have to click on login and sign into Figma. So I already have an account, so I don't need to go through this process. I'm just going to go over to the my Figma homepage. I'm going to skip to this. So after signing up, you should get started, sign up, follow the steps. It's very easy and there's no problem. It's not stressful. Once you're done, you should land in this page that I am currently. Now, if you're not here, you don't worry yourself. If you end somewhere that looks just like this, don't worry yourself. It just means that Figma has created a new design for you, and it means that probably in the course of your sign-up process, you had told Figma that you want to design. So once you're here, just locate the Figma logo that you see here that is called this main menu that has a drop down. Once you click on it, you see this back to files option. Once you click on it, you're going to be taken automatically to this page easily. So this is like the welcome page of Figma where you get introduced. So over here in the center, like I'm highlighting here, these are your recently opened files and documents, both the ones you've designed and previously opened documents. On the left hand side, you can access all your previous projects, your team, your drafts, all your projects. Then on the top, you create a new design file, figure boards, slide deck, and import external files, just based on what you want to do on Figma. So for today, we are creating a new design file. But lastly is the community on Figma. Now, this community is very, very important for UI UX designers, because we use this to get inspirations, we use this to get icons and plugins and all of that stuff. So I just clicked on the community, and you see that yeah, it takes us to a whole new page. You can have access to a variety of resources. So just what you need to at a particular time, and it's very, very helpful. So many times you can use this Figma community to get inspirations, websites, mobile apps, for any purpose at all, be it educational or for inspiration. And mind you, it doesn't hurt. So you can just search for whatever you want in this search bar, and Figma will do the rest for you. So today we are creating a new design. So I'm just going back to the previous tab here, and then we'll click on this new Figma design file button. So I've created a file already, so I'm just going to switch my tab to something like this, and yeah, I'll do this now. Okay, so if you create a new file, you should see an environment that looks something similar to this, something that looks like this. So I'm going to switch this panel currently to my layers panel. So on this part now, like you'll see here, this is our layers panel, where you have all the elements, all the stuff that you have on your canvas. They will all show here. They're all appeared. So anything that is on the canvas is going to be accessible on this layers panel. Then the assets that you have here are like the tools you use in your design. You have your local assets or assets from the internet, your icons, components, whatever stuff that you use in the design and you want to like use them later, you can just save them and they will appear on these assets, and that's why they're here. Then page 1 indicates all your pages, all the pages on this Figma. So for those of us that use a free account like me, we are limited to only 3 pages per design file. So currently we're on page 1. If I want to add another one, I just simply click on this icon here, this plus icon, and voila, I have another page, a second page, just like this. So I'm going to go back to my page 1 and switch to my layers, just like this, and close this. So in case you're seeing this stuff here and you're wondering where are they, yeah, I hid them for the moment. So before we see the family members, we need to first get introduced to the household here. So this place is supposed to be blank because you guys have not done anything, so I'll introduce you to that later on. So moving on, the right hand panel is our properties panel. It's divided into 2, the design properties and then your prototyping properties for your prototyping. For the case of this our course, we are going to focus on this design. The prototyping will be in our subsequent class. Then lastly, we are moving on to the toolbar at the top left corner of the screen. Of course, we made our trusty Figma button where we have the files you back to file, new design file, new figure file, and place image, and so on and so forth. Then the next are your tools that we can use in Figma. The very first tool is our move tool. Shortcut is V on the keyboard, has a drop down to show you the second tool that I have, which is a scale tool for scaling down objects and resizing them. Then the next, but one of the most important tools is the frame tool. Now these frames in Figma serves like a piece of land where you can build a house on top. So they are very, very important because you can't make a design on an actual mockup without using a frame. So this frame, you have to have in mind that UI UX design is mostly for screens. So these frames serve as those screens where your designs can stay on, where you can build your designs inside. So you cannot create any design, be it a mobile app or a website, without a frame. So these frames comes in presets. You have mobile frames, desktop frames, laptop frames, and so on, depending on the type of design that you're making. So if I click on the frame right now, you'll see that on our design panel, the properties changes. In the phone section, we have different sizes of phones, especially iPhones and Android as well. But let me just tell you guys, doesn't mean that if you choose any of these phone presets, it makes your design fixed to only one type of phone. No, it's just a preset. So once you're designing for a phone, it covers all phones in all aspects. So you don't have to worry yourself. All the devices will work as well. Then that's the phone category. We have the tablet categories like this. You have the desktop categories, presentations, and so on and so forth. So for today, we're going to be using the phone category. Then the next tool that we have is our shape tools, where you have all your shapes. Like you have on the drop down, you can see the rectangle, the line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, star, and the option to place an image or a video. So you see that Figma is really fun. Then the next tool is the pen tool and the pencil tool for making abstract shapes that are not predefined, freehand sketches and stuff like that. You can use your pen tool and your pencil tool. Then the next tool is your text tool for typing, for add typography, copywriting to your design. Then your resources, your hand tool for panning around in the environment, and your comments tool. This is where you use to add comments, because in case you have you add your members, or you created a team and you shared it with your UX team, and you want to start conversing with one another, just like those of us that play online games like Free Fire and the rest. When you're connected to a friend, you drop messages, you chat, and you discuss and all of that. That's how this comments section works. So if I share just like this, if I share my design on this button, you see this is my name. Anybody that I share this to will appear on this panel, so I can just drop messages and everyone will see the message. That is the point of this tool. So this is an introduction to Figma. So I would suggest that you guys at your own free time just explore it a little bit. So for today, we are going to be discussing about wireframes. So firstly, what are wireframes? Why are they important? Before you build a house or an app or a website, you need to have like a skeletal structure. That is what your wireframe serves as. So this skeletal structure is what you show to your stakeholders to let them know how your app or your website is going to look like when it's finished. So the wireframe is like a skeleton. Your mockup is built of this. So that means before you create a design where you have the pictures and the colors on that, so you need to have a particular set where the colors and the pictures are all stripped off in black and white format. So the purpose of these wireframes is for you to be able to change your designs, because you know that when you just come up with a design, everyone has not seen it first. So if you put in too many time and effort into creating a design, it can be so disappointing when at the end of the day your stakeholders don't like it, or they want you to start making changes. So that's why it's always advised and it's necessary to start with wireframes before you start creating mockups. Now there are different types of wireframes. Basically, we have 3 types, but many people think we have only 2. So people think we have 4. It just varies on the mentalities. But the thing is that wireframes are wireframes. They all have the same function. The basic one that is general is the paper one. So this one are the ones that you use to make sketches. You use paper and pen, perhaps pencil. Mind you don't have to know how to draw on paper and pen. Yeah, you don't need to know that. This one is what you use to just get your ideas out of your head, to get it on paper so that you can have a visual concept of what you want to do before you take it to the system. So then when you take it to the system, we have two types of wireframe: the low fidelity and the high fidelity wireframes respectively. So those are my two guests that we have. Remember I said we're going to come to the guests later on. So I'm going to pan quickly to the area where I have those two wireframes for us to explore it a little bit. So now I hold my space bar and click and drag. Yeah, I pan around, hold down space bar, click and drag. So yeah, if I hold my space bar, you see the hand icon, I just click and drag. Then I zoom in by holding Control and then scrolling in with my mouse. Yeah, so these are some helpful shortcuts that you need to know and the ones that I use a lot. So firstly, let us see what a low fidelity wireframe looks like up close. So let's just zoom in a little bit to see this. Yes. So yeah, now we can see a typical representation of a low fidelity wireframe. As you can understand, there are no much text, no colors, no pictures, just are the basic characteristics of wireframes. But for this low fidelity wireframe, no text, only this call to action button here that has finish. But note all the other texts are replaced with lines, no colors, no pictures, no icons, just lines and shapes. So like you can see here, places of pictures are replaced with squares and an X in the middle to indicate that that's a picture. The right up are replaced with lines. Now the width and the thickness of the line depends on the boldness of the text and hierarchy, as well as icons being replaced with shapes. So the only action that we have is the call to action buttons. That's the only write up that we can have in a low fidelity wireframe. Now many people might also go as far as replacing the call to action buttons with just lines. So you see that these low fidelity wireframes are the simplest forms of wireframes because they are the most easy to create and the most basic. They are done this way because after you made your paper wireframes, you can't show your stakeholders that ugly design. So you don't want to also put in much effort into something that is going to be rejected at the end of the day. So you use this to just get your ideas out there and show them a concept of what you have at the back of your mind. So let them see your structure. Then they would definitely expect you to give them a much more refined structure for them to understand, compare and contrast. Then you create a high fidelity wireframe. So but many designers don't see the need for this. They just like go straight to the point, creating a high fidelity wireframe, putting all the qualities of that. If it's good, they take it. If it's not good, they take it out. So it's all up to you. Whichever one you want, whether a high fidelity or a low fidelity is all your choice. So a high fidelity wireframe, on the other hand, is a complete opposite. Let me just zoom out and pan away again to see a high fidelity. So yeah, this is a high fidelity wireframe. They still share the same characteristics: no colors, no pictures, no icons, but there's a difference. In a high fidelity wireframe, you have text, you have write-up, yes. There's this presence of typography. So that all those lines are replaced with actual copyright and text and typography. That's what differentiates a high fidelity wireframe from a low fidelity wireframe. But all of them has no pictures and no colors. So it's all up to you. If you choose to create a low fidelity and then a high fidelity wireframe, fine. If you don't want to create a low fidelity wireframe, you feel like why not just show your stakeholders an X-ray vision of what you're trying to create. You want the text to be there, fine and good. It's all your choice. There's no one way to doing this. But the point is, before creating a mock-up, you must have a wireframe regardless of the type before you start creating a finished mock-up. Now this mock-up that I'm talking about now, many people might also call it high fidelity screens. So the context or the language, it's somewhat confusing at times. Yes, people call wireframes low fidelity generally. They call it, since people that see wireframes as only one type, they call it low fidelity, while they call high fidelity or mockups call it high fidelity screens. So as you might have guessed, with the tools that we've learned today, these tools up here, you can create a simple low fidelity wireframe or a high fidelity wireframe, any one of your choice. That's that's it, guys. Because of the constraints of our time, I won't be able to create an actual wireframe for us, but I believe with the tools that we've learned so far and the properties panel, of course, always remember the properties panel is there for you to edit each and every shape that you create. So I would like you guys to create your own low fidelity wireframe or high fidelity wireframe, depending on the one that best suits you. So you create your frame, you create your shapes, you add your text. Once you click on any of those elements like you see on the properties panel, it changes. All are there to help you with your design process. So I believe that with a little bit of exploration on your own part and adventure, you can be able to come up with your own low fidelity wire frames. So next week we are going to be talking about giving our wireframe screens a much more defined look. That is, giving them a mock-up, creating them in form of a mock-up, and also, if time permits, we'll also create prototypes as well. So see you next week.
And that's it on this fantastic episode of Tech Room powered by Loctech. I'm sure you learned a lot. To catch up on previous episodes that you might have missed out, log on to YouTube and head on over to Loctech's YouTube channel. We're looking forward to hear from you, so you can send us a DM on all socials at Loctech Training. For inquiries, comments, questions, you can call us on 0703 888 5466. Until same time next week, I remain your Tech Sis, Akelachi Keje. Bye bye.